From the creators of Relevant Magazine, this is the Relevant Podcast.
It's Wednesday, August 8th, 2018, and it's the Relevant Podcast. I'm your host, Cameron Strang, and here with me in our Orlando studios, on the ones and twos, our illustrious producer, my brother, Chandler Strang.
Hello.
On the Skype line from Loverland, Virginia, Jesse Carey.
Hello, hello.
Joining us from Nashville, Tennessee this week, Tyler Huckabee.
Howdy, everybody.
And just down the road, down the trail, we like to say, there in Nashville, author, speaker, podcaster, Annie F. Downs.
Good morning, gents.
The majority of our cast is in one city. I don't like it. It's not here.
Doesn't happen every time. Annie, we should do this together sometime.
I know, that's right. Next time you're on the show, we should sit in the same room. That would be so fun.
You're really not that, because you're up there at the church, right? At Crosspoint
Yeah,
Church.
we're literally like a mile and a half apart.
But see, Tyler he won't step foot in a church. He's persona non grata at that church. So
I think it's more that we're not in East Nashville, and he doesn't leave East Nashville. That's the bigger truth. We're on the wrong side of the river.
There was an incident. It's fine. It was legal. I was exercising my First Amendment rights, and the wise powers that be at Crosspoint won't let me back in the building.
Tyler had a new revelation. He had a new revelation he wanted to share with the body that was not received. It was a hard pass. A hard pass on that word, brother.
I don't think about it anymore.
The body did not receive it.
They still have pictures of my face at Crosspoint.
That's
Tyler
true.
delivered a word to leadership there, and they looked at him and go, not even close, man. Not even close. Not received.
now they have the church offices are like the bodega in Seinfeld, where they have pictures up of the bad check passers.
Yeah.
You know?
That's right.
It's
That's who he is for us.
bad
And that
word
was-
givers.
I
Bad
didn't
word
have to
givers.
tell you this,
Tyler.
but it's because his checks kept bouncing when he was tithing. It is a bad check problem. That's exactly what
It
it
had nothing to do with it. Was an investment opportunity. It would have paid itself off in weeks. They'll never have an opportunity. They'll never know.
Tyler's multi-level legging business cannot do business in the
throwing some
parking lot
shade.
of Crosspoint
His
anymore.
essential
I wish
oils.
that
I don't
was
think
true.
about it. It's in my rear view mirror. Moving
You
on
got
to
to
the future.
take that legging pop-up shop to another church's parking lot, Tyler. It's not a pop-up shop, by the way. By the way, people who do that's not a pop-up shop. I can tell that's a trailer.
Tyler
with
was going for
leggings in order.
he was going for the double dip, and he actually was selling a line of leggings that were kind of fragranced with essential oils. So he was
Oh,
going for
sure.
the double whammy.
Yeah.
Christian
Yeah.
essential oils.
Christian stuff.
Essentially, yeah, they were. It was good. It was very. It was church.
His pyramid is twice as high and twice as pointy because he is most of the top levels in that one.
From the waist down, Tyler smells like patchouli oil from the waist
Twice
down.
as high and twice as
There's
fleet.
3 sides, but it's barely a pyramid. It's not.
It's really funny.
Can you say we're probably gonna get more angry emails and tweets about that than we have when like Rob Bell's on.
All the girls are like, hey, I like selling my leggings. Hey, I like my essential oils. Yeah. Hey, Annie, are you still on the essential oil train?
Yeah. I like it. I mean, I don't sell it. I just think they smell nice, and I like what they do to my house, and they keep me from being allergic to my desk.
I was in New York the other day, and I went into a Muji, you know, that Japanese, basically Japanese IKEA. And and down on the bottom floor, they had like their housewares, and they had all these like steaming oils, I guess. I don't know. Like, is that what that is? Like, I don't even know what essential oils are. I thought it was like an anointing oil that you put on your forehead or something.
You burn
No,
them,
you
right?
can. I mean, you don't. It's diffusing them, not steaming them per se. But yes, that is what I do here in the office.
I Cameron, but that's only if you want a light introduction. You know, you diffuse it into the air and let it enter your nostrils.
I will say this.
Naturally.
It smelled delicious down there. It was lovely.
Yeah.
Smelled like a
Well,
spa.
you know what I do? Like if they can really do all the health claims that they say they can, then there's no reason for me to stop drinking them. Just vial by vial of them. I don't need it diffused. Put it right into me. Just inject it into me, you know?
Man, there is one oregano oil is really good for you. You can like put one drop in your mouth and it burns. Y'all would not
Oregano
believe it.
oil?
It feels like you're on fire. Yeah. You smell like a pizza parlor.
It just sounds like a pizza
is.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound bad. I love pizza. If you told me there were pizza essential oils, I would have gotten on board way fast. Now I'm there.
Yeah, Tyler, I think this is our opportunity, and I think this is your opportunity to
comeback.
get your foot back in the door at Crosswalk. Just hear me out, everyone.
Wait a minute.
Pizza oils.
Wait a minute.
I've got pepperoni.
Pizza.
I've got cheese.
Let me finish. Oils. Let me finish again.
It's an entire pizza.
No, it'd be easy to cultivate. I mean, those pepperonis are just like they're like a saucepan of oil when you get a new
Yeah.
pizza.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
You can
I
Y'all
just
are
like to
coming
pour
up with
that
this
in.
whole new line of essential oils. Moils, maybe. I don't know what we call
Moils.
them, but
We're gonna call them moils. I like it.
Moils.
Man essential oils.
Stetson. You have Stetson, and that one is literally just Stetson
It's
that we
literally just
watered
Stetson.
down and bottled.
we oil down. We don't
We have
water.
Axe body spray. That's the same thing. We just took some Axe body spray.
I will
and
pitch
put
it to
in a
Cross Point, but
vial.
I'm not allowed in the building. So Annie, I'm gonna have to get on
Do
your
it from the
shoulders.
parking lot.
We'll wear a trench coat, like a big hat, big mustache, glasses.
What if
And then
while I'm being escorted out, I will deliver my pitch? And it will
Jesse,
be
I
very
can't
fast.
stop thinking about you said it in passing, an injectable oil.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm wondering, you know how like if somebody eats a lot of garlic, when they sweat, you can kind of
Yeah.
smell the garlic again. I wonder if you can inject the oil, and then when you sweat, you're like basically diffusing the sweet fragrances.
Yes, that actually happens with oils.
Can I be honest? I don't see any reason why a listener shouldn't try that right now. If they happen to have a syringe and essential oil kit, I want you to do it right now. Right in your jugular. Right in your jugular.
Oh, my gosh.
Mainline that oil.
Mainline that oil. Oh,
Also, if they've got all those supplies sitting around, I have like 9 other questions. They are for sure listener of the week this week because I have a lot of other questions.
That's funny. Well, we have a great show in store for you. Coming up later, we talk to Eugene Cho. He's a pastor and an author. He's an activist. He runs One Day's Wages. He's a pastor, founding pastor of Quest Church in Seattle. And he made the very unexpected and bold announcement that he is stepping down from the church. And it wasn't because of anything negative, any scandal or anything like that. And he actually, it's not like he's stepping down to like go do another big thing. He said he doesn't know what he's doing next.
Yeah.
And we get him on the show today and talk to him about why. And Jesse, I mean,
Yeah,
I can't wait.
When I first heard his announcement, I had assumed that there was some other like initiative or something, that he was doing. But the more I kind of read about it, the more I did. I mean, Cameron, you know this. I was fascinated about it, a week or two ago when it broke, and I knew I wanted to have him on and as you'll hear in this interview, it's still emotional and very raw, but he's being obedient to what he believes he's supposed to do. It is a fascinating conversation, and I'm really excited that he was willing to be vulnerable about it.
I know where, what he talked to you about, and I can't stop thinking about it. I mean, not just because I'm not a pastor or anything, but like there's a lot of people who listen to this that are entrepreneurs or they're creators or they have an idea and a vision that they go and they kind of build, and they're builders, they're makers, and the idea, like 20 years ago, built this community in Seattle and formed this church and built it up, and it's doing well. And to walk away from the thing that you gave your life to creating, that is like something that really, it's challenging, the idea of that.
And to not shutter it. Like you're not shuttering it down.
No.
You're realizing, okay, I'm walking away from this, and it will succeed without him.
And that's what's so surprising. And again, not to give too much away, but he was in a position where he knows that the elders had his full support. That the only way he was going to get fired is if he fired himself, and he felt like that to make the church grow, someone had to take it to the next level, and he realized it wasn't him. I mean, I've never heard a story like it, to be honest. Like I was trying to think of one, but I really couldn't.
I like him. I respect him so much.
When we talk about humility, we tend to think of it as being people who just say, oh, it's not about me, it's about God. But it's just lip service until something like this happens. Like, if you haven't started something, then you don't know how hard it is to step away and say, I trust the next generation to take this to places that I can't right now. And it's so encouraging to see.
Hey, speaking of pastors, and I mean, not to be flippant, but stepping down, and I'm thinking about this past week, Jesse and Tyler Daswick and I were in Chicago for Lollapalooza, and Annie was in Chicago speaking at Willow Creek. And then this weekend, not to be flippant with the news, but I felt like we should probably bring up the news that hit about Willow this weekend, and it hits home for us because we're friends with a lot of people that are affected by this, and so I just wanted to kind of tee it up. Annie, you were at Willow on Sunday, the New York Times. I was at church Sunday morning and got a New York Times alert to my watch that was the headline about Bill Hybels, the founder of Willow Creek, and more allegations of misconduct have come out, and it was very detailed and probably the most egregious of the accusations up to this point. If people don't know what's happened, like some just strange, things, rumors kind of were being said about how he treated women, sexual misconduct and things. And it was strange. It wasn't as, at the initial reports weren't as egregious as many of the leaders that have fallen because of victims speaking out. It was more just like poor decisions and bad. It was just odd and not dismissing in any way what happened, but it was just confusing. And he stepped down. He was already stepping down, but he stepped down immediately. Our friend Steve Carter and Heather Larson took over the pastorship at the church, and it seemed like the ministry
Which actually, I think it's important to say, Cameron, that they were put in that position by Bill before these allegations really started coming out. They were the succession plan for the future of Willow Creek, was co-pastoring between Heather and Steve.
Right. And Steve doing a lot more of the teaching and speaking, and Heather running the ministry. It was an interesting model. Again, it kind of fell into the same thing that Willow was always innovative and thinking kind of one step ahead. And really, you cannot overstate the influence Willow Creek has had on the global church, especially the American church. And so like it just kind of sped up the transition, and then the church never really acknowledged it. It was kind of strange, but in the air, but like you're kind of wanting to move forward too, and didn't know what to do with it. And then on Sunday, again, more substantiated and more egregious claims came out in the New York Times. And Annie, you were there speaking.
I mean, your girl
Willow
Annie was preaching that Sunday.
That morning. That's what I'm saying. That is crazy. What happened and what was your experience, and kind of catch us up on where everything's at?
Yeah, I mean, it was really something. I'll tell you what I know. I'll tell you a couple things I know is true. Number one, what I know is true is that the church is the bride of Christ, and it will not die. The church, I don't know what's going to happen with Willow Creek, but the church,
Big C.
Big C Church is going to be fine. The other thing I know is true is you are always right where you're supposed to be. And that's the thing. I think I even said that to y'all on Sunday. That's the thing that the Lord kept reminding me is like, I knew this. This isn't, this didn't surprise me. And you're right where you're supposed to be, which was helpful for me because that is a strange situation to find yourself in. But that morning when the article came out, most of the leadership at church knew. I don't know how many people in the church, in the congregation knew what the article, because it didn't come out in the Chicago Tribune or one that maybe people in Chicagoland would read on before they went to church. You can't be sure how many people had heard the news ahead of time. And the leadership of the church just wanted to have a Sunday morning while they figure out what they do with these new allegations, right? Which I think is really fair to kind of, you don't have to address things 5 minutes after they come out, because literally the article came out about 20-30 minutes before church.
Wow.
And so no company, if you're just talking companies, or just talking executives, no companies have time to make a presentation to, 15,000 people about the situation 30 minutes after it happens.
Yeah.
So, Steve got sick that morning before church. I was there. He was sick and left. And so he wasn't there for the Sunday morning services. And so Heather kind of ran the day, and a worship leader stepped in and did the parts that Steve had done on the Saturday night service, which was really impressive. He stepped in and interviewed Ira Glass, who was there, which now that I'm bros with Ira Glass, I'm pretty impressed with myself. I'm just saying. Me and Ira Glass are pretty good friends.
I would like to just say, after she literally hung out with Ira Glass all day and like taking selfies and whatever, she's texting me and Jesse telling us about all of her wonderful, fun times with Ira. And Jesse's going, yeah, we're best buds too. Tell him I said hi. And then she's like, oh yeah, he says, oh, I love Jesse. And And I'm on this text string. She's like, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. I'm the only person here who's not best friends with Ira Glass.
Yeah,
Also-
I mean, it is pretty cool, Cameron.
Also, you responded to, I'm the only one in this group chat that isn't best friends with Ira. And I was like, Grandpa, we do not call this a group chat. So,
Well, Ira doesn't even respond to me and all of my very exciting investment opportunities.
right. We talked about that too. Todd.
Moils.
Yeah, moils. And so then I think another important part of the Willow Creek story is that after church that day, Steve resigned and is no longer the pastor of Willow Creek.
Dude, he wrote a blog. Jesse, you were telling me about it. I haven't had a chance to read it yet, but he wrote a blog.
Beautiful.
And the reason why he stepped down is, you said, because he was not comfortable with how the church handled the victims and the accusations.
Yeah. And if, he was sort of the first one there to offer apologies to the victims for how the church had handled it up to now, which was essentially to deny there was any truth to their allegations, to suggest that they were conspiring against the leadership of Willow Creek, which now Willow Creek has offered an apology, but it followed Steve's.
Yeah,
And
that's right.
Steve, kind of had to put a line in the sand, and I don't want to put words in his mouth, and I encourage people to go read his blog. But I think this was kind of the final straw that he did not want to see. And the other thing too is, obviously it goes without saying, but I feel like we should say, Steve is a friend of ours. A close friend, he does the sports pod with us, and obviously we've been friends with Shauna for a long time. We know a lot of people in that community.
But first, people aren't aware, Shauna Nyquist, who did a podcast with us and was a cast member on this show for 3 years, is Bill Hybels' daughter. The last names don't line up, so people don't necessarily know that. But very close to this.
Yeah, and obviously we're friends with them, very close with them, and know how bad they've been hurt by all of this. But I think, like I said, it kind of goes without saying that first and foremost, our sympathies goes towards the victims.
Absolutely.
And enduring years of silence, enduring the pain that was inflicted on them by this abuse, and then also enduring being called liars and being suggested that they were conspiring. And I like I said, I know that goes without saying, but I do want to say that's our first and foremost.
It doesn't go without saying.
Yeah.
It's important that the church speaks up and says that. Jesse, I like the thing that I said earlier, like it was confusing earlier, like up until this point, it was confusing. It was because not to belittle, like clearly something was off, but the way But
what you're saying is that none of the women were saying he had sex with me.
Right.
Right.
Well,
There were other accusations around what would be considered
inappropriate. It was odd, bad decisions. It was just like strange.
A pattern of behavior that was very concerning. And that I think when you have someone in a position of power and you have people that are not in power or, that are under that person's employ, then, then patterns of sexual harassment and misconduct are very concerning and can be very damaging to the people that are the victims.
But the thing that I'm in retrospect, I'm happy about those initial women who spoke up, even if the thing that they experienced wasn't as salacious as some of the other scandals that have hit, but they still spoke up and they cleared their conscience that this was wrong.
And they made a way, right? They made a way for these other stories.
That's where I was going. That in the New York Times story, this victim that probably had the most egregious claims said that she finally got bold enough to say something because the other women spoke up. And
I think a thing that's heartbreaking for a lot of people. I mean, the heartbreak in the story is practically unlimited, honestly. Yeah. I mean, the sadness across this story is so sad. But, for our friend Shauna and the people that are so close to their family, these women who have these stories are not strangers.
No.
Right? Like the woman this Sunday lived in their house.
For 2 years.
Right? Yeah. And so this is so deep and so painful. And my heart is so for Shauna and Aaron and their kids, and for Steve and Sarah and their kids. I mean, I'm
Lynn.
so team Steve Carter. I couldn't be a bigger fan of that man. I plan to be friends with him for a really long time. He is so full of integrity.
He'll have you. He's not Ira Glass. You can't just be friends with him because you choose to. If he'll have you, you'll be friends with him.
Okay. Sure. If he continues to agree to the plan, we will remain friends. But actually, that is how I do friendship, Cameron. That's what I did to you too. I was like,
Yeah,
oh, we're
that's
in
actually
this.
true.
buddy.
Will yourself
You
into a
did.
friendship.
You just latched on and wouldn't let go. It was like,
Oh,
Well, it worked, didn't it? Now
It
you can't
did.
resist me.
I've burned a lot of bridges with friends, particularly like randos from high school I haven't talked to since graduation, when I message them out of the blue, seeing if they're interested in my morning business. And let's just say I'm not going back to any high school reunions.
Something that I saw on Twitter regarding all of this a lot that I feel like is worth all of us addressing, and I would like you guys' thoughts on this, is that the impression that there could be a more muted response to this, because in so many ways, Willow Creek, Bill and Lynn and Shauna are guys. They're extremely well respected group of people who we all have a lot of love for, and obviously the conversation around this has been fraught with a little more complication than it is with somebody like Harvey Weinstein or something like that.
Yeah.
And I think that it's I understand that. I think that's a really fair temptation for people, especially pastors, people with a platform, people with a big voice. And accountability doesn't mean anything if it doesn't work when it's your guy. And for a long time, Bill has been our guy, and many members of his family have been involved with Relevant, and not just Relevant, but a lot of different Christian platforms. And I hope, and my prayer is that we will that the victims, the people who have been hurt by him, credibly accused him of hurting them, will take precedent over protecting a powerful man.
And I think it's also important to remember that what God did through Willow for the last 40 years, God did through Willow. Like, that is still every good thing that came from that church. All of us are screw ups, and God uses us, right? And he has used that church and that family. And no matter where this ends up, we can still thank God for the international impact that Willow Creek Community Church has had on people of faith and people who aren't of faith, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't think it's too late for them to handle this in a way that could really bring.
I think it might be. I think it might be.
Well, I think the damage is definitely
you can't
done.
undo. You can't undo what's
you can't
done,
undo
but,
calling the women liars.
Yeah.
Please hear me on that. I'm not saying that they could mitigate or that they can erase that, but I would like to see some ownership of what happened. Because there's not going to be. I saw a quote yesterday, and you have to forgive me, I forget who actually said it, but it rung really. It wasn't in regards to this, but it rung as very true that there is that no truth, no matter how damaging, is as painful as a lie. And I think that in this case, the truth is very, very damaging, but it's not as damaging as owning up, owning up to what happened.
Yeah, I think you're right in that. Look, it's never too late to start doing the right thing. It's not going to undo the things you did wrong, but it can certainly prevent further hurt. And this is an opportunity to start doing things right. Hopefully,
there's two ways. There's two ways to learn something. Somebody showing you what to do, and then seeing what not to do, and hopefully. Frankly, given their global position and leadership in the body of Christ and the influence that Willow Creek has, hopefully the good that could come of this is in other instances at churches and Christian organizations or just in general, we can look at, it doesn't pay to belittle the accusation. We need to lead. Right. We need to lead boldly in humility. We need to assume the victim. Start with listening to the victims and not preferencing or preferring the people in power. We need to learn from this. If Willow goes down or not, we need to learn from this. And this needs to be a wake up call for the church.
That makes me raise a question to you guys, because so many of our friends who listen are in our age bracket that are pastors, right? So they're late 20s to mid 30s, and then Cameron. So my question to y'all is, what's a piece of advice that, because none of us are experts and none of us are totally on the inside, but take 2 minutes and say, what would you say to young pastors that they can learn from watching this happening at Willow? What can they learn to protect themselves and their families?
Well, I don't know if I can speak to people that are specifically in ministry because I've never been in a ministry capacity, but I do know for Christians, our example is the example of Jesus. And look at the people Jesus sided with. It wasn't the people in power. It wasn't the people who had influence. It was the people on the ground and people who were experiencing hurt and experiencing pain, whether that was, victims of a system that was oppressive, whether it was, a woman being, shamed and almost stoned, whether it was someone that was hurting because, they were sick or someone who, was an outcast. Because of circumstances outside of their control. Jesus always sided with the people who were not in the positions of power. And he had compassion for the people that were socially in a lower place than other people. And I think I can't, in a ministry context, I don't know. I don't want to pretend I do, but I do know the gospel's pretty clear on that.
For me, like one of the things is almost like preventative. Like number one, don't put yourself in the situations where this becomes an issue in your life. And I think looking at this pattern of powerful men, not just in the church but outside, abusing people under them. It's men. It's people in power without accountability. Like in time, like. Bad things usually happen. And I'm not saying sexual misconduct, but bad things, ego, power, greed, things get off track without accountability. And I think if we want to be a generation that can kind of change this cycle, I think we got to start earlier and be so intentional about accountability and transparency and vulnerability and having checks and balances in our life. And this has nothing, even if you're pastor or not, a few months ago, I started dating somebody, and immediately, Jesse talked to me in my kitchen about her and about the relationship. My pastor took me to lunch and said, "I'm going to walk this out with you." And it's important to have people in your life that are involved, and that there's no little shadows and hidden corners in your life, and that you live with a glass door. I mean, honestly, I'm intentional. Our office has no doors, and the few that we have are glass. Accountability and transparency is so vital, because I think that's where things get off. When you can get away with something, human nature wants to get away with something.
That's right.
And when you're unhappy or you're unfulfilled and whatever, and you're looking for affirmation or you're looking for something or excitement, things get off track. I was at a church where the pastor ended up falling because it came out that he had a 3-year relationship with his secretary. And they had this private little nook up there, and nobody knew what was going on. And there was no accountability and there was no transparency. And that's where bad things happen. Again, it's not just sexual misconduct. There's a million ways that things can get off track. Yeah. And so intentionally putting a support system in place, that you have people in your life that can call you out. You have people in your life that will walk with you. You will listen to corrective instruction, and not put a power structure in your life where you have yes men around you or yes people who just do what you bid.
I think
we gotta be
what's
careful about
key
that.
to that is, if you look over the story, there were so many times throughout the last 2 decades where somebody in Bill Hybels' immediate circle, even on his board, raised a warning flag and said, this is what we are perceiving. This does not look good. And they were ignored. And God uses people that we have in our lives to say true things to us. And if your first instinct is to shut those people out or to get defensive and say that's not true, then I would caution you. And I would, especially as a man speaking to other men, I would caution you, especially if these are women coming to you saying we perceive things about how you treat other women, things involving sexuality and romance. These are very sensitive issues, and it's very easy to get defensive about it. But if this is happening, then your first instinct as a leader, as somebody in a position of authority, needs to be, what I am presenting is not lining up with who God has called me to be in leadership. And because I think there are opportunities that were presented here to get away from where we're at right now, and they were ignored. And now we have one of the most heartbreaking stories that I've ever heard of from an American church in my lifetime.
Yeah. And I just think you have to be careful of the little yeses you're making every day, because they add up to a big yes in the long run. The things the yeses we can't see, the things that Bill Hybels is accused of that we can see, there are yeses before that we can't see, that were way smaller, that were, what you're Googling is going to matter in 10 years with who you become, right? Like there are all these everyday things that we need to say, okay, well, if I'm sneaking $5 in like 30 years, I may sneak $5 million and think I'm not going to get caught because I didn't get caught when I was sneaking 5. And that can be financially or emotionally or sexually, that you think the little yes today that you would never have an affair, or you'd never steal a lot of money, or you would never lie to your church, and you wouldn't, but you would say a little yes to this and a little yes to that. And suddenly that isn't such a big yes anymore. And so we have to be so careful, which is annoying, right? Because there are a lot of people who don't think about all this stuff, but the 4 of us, all of us here are in some version of a leadership position in the church. And anyone who's in a leadership position in the church, it is a gift, but also there's a cost to that, and we have to live differently.
Will you tell my parents that Chandler's in a leadership position in the church? Because it would make their life.
I'm having dinner with them next week. I'll tell them. Don't worry.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
I said 4. I knew what I was doing. I counted. Sorry, Mark.
He edits the podcast, and I know this is church for a lot of listeners out there. This is the only church you go to. We're aware of it. We don't call you out on it, but we are aware.
Yeah. And we would like to introduce you to a very exciting investment opportunity. Chandler, the floor is yours.
Well, normally right around here is where we tell you about the show's sponsor, the organization making this episode possible. But this week is an unusual announcement that I want to do right up here at the beginning of the show before we get into our normal dumbness.
An announcement before the dumbness. Let's hear this.
We have a big thing coming up at the end of the month. The last week of August 27th, that entire week, we are doing for the first time ever something we're calling Impact Week. We partnered with Bright Peak, who's been partnering with us all year on the Love and Money Project, and we present them the idea of doing Impact Week. And what it is we are going to, for the 5 days that week, each day, find a different organization, a different goal, a different initiative, and rally our audience around this goal. One day we might be, let's try to build the most wells we can with charity water. One day we might be, let's raise money to free X number of people from trafficking. One day, it's just going to be a bunch of different things. Domestic, global. We have a lot of stuff in the hopper. A lot of stuff happening.
The exciting thing, too, is it's not just like we're going to be accomplishing all these great things with our audience. We're going to be producing a lot of content that if you like the podcast, then you're going to really enjoy, because we're going to be going live throughout the week with updates and things.
Throughout the week. And the reason why it made sense for us to partner with Bright Peak to do this is really interesting. And actually, what I'm about to tell you is what helped us think of this idea. Yeah. So Bright Peak does financial services. It's a Christian organization, over 100 years old, and they're nonprofit. So when you think about financial services,
I think they're actually not for profit.
It's the same thing.
I thought they were like different distinctions.
But I'll say it. That's fine. And they're actually not for profit. And so when you think about financial institutions, banks and investments and insurance and stuff, these are the most biggest conglomerates and most profitable and profit-minded things. And so Bright Peak is completely different. In fact, with their members, when you're a Bright Peak member and you do their insurance or their investments or whatever, part of what you get at the end of the year, you'll get money back from them to invest in social good and volunteerism and maybe backpacks for local school kids in your area. And you will get a check to go and participate and do charitable work, which is an amazing thing. And then they also, as an organization, fund a lot of charitable initiatives. So we called them and said, hey, what if we got the relevant audience focused on goals in this 1 week of like try to move the needle to make difference? Would you participate and like kind of pour gas on the fire?
Yeah.
And so like, what will happen is Bright Peak it's not going to be like a dollar for dollar match thing. We are going to involve them in like some interesting ways to like accelerate and further the impact of the money we're raising. And they're going to participate too, which is really cool. Yeah. So like we're partnering with them and they're going to be giving more than all of us. It's going to be really an amazing week. And like what I love about it is like you could give to a lot of these organizations anytime, but if you do it during Impact Week, the giving will be accelerated and multiplied because of the partnership with Bright Peak, which is really cool.
And the other cool thing about Bright Peak is like they have like a ton of like resources available that, you know, can help in all manner of your financial life, but particularly like if you're like, man, I want to be involved with this, and you want to find some margin. They have something called the Illuminate budgeting app that you can use to kind of see where money goes. And actually, so start squirreling away some nuts right now, because come Impact Week, you're going to be a part of this, you know?
And so like you said, each day we'll have a different goal. We'll have different things going on throughout the day. We'll be going live. We'll be doing podcasts. We'll be doing video. We'll have guests. We'll have maybe some psychological endurance challenges. We're going to be doing a lot of stuff to try and move the needle in a short amount of time for a lot of these different goals. If you want to find out more and be kind of that early first wave of participating, head over to our website, relevantmagazine.com/Impact Week. And you can put in your email there and you can find out more about the specific plans for the week. Obviously, we're going to be talking about this more and more leading up to Impact Week at the end of August. But I wanted to let you know, we partnered with Bright Peak. Impact Week is coming, and it's going to be, I'm really excited.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
Hey, moving the show along, I mentioned that we were all in Chicago this week, and we were there for our annual music pilgrimage to Lollapalooza. Jesse and I every year go to South by Southwest and Lollapalooza, and you know, it's our cheat sheet of how to, you know, experience a ton of the artists that we cover and discover new ones. We want to pull Tyler Daswick in and do a different kind of Lala recap. Every year we do like a few minutes, like telling you guys the highlights and some of the artists that broke out that caught our attention. And this year was no different. It was a great few days. It was the shortest Lala I've ever been to. I was at Hillsong Conference in New York for a few days, and then went to Chicago to kind of like undo everything that Hillsong Conference did. No, then I went to Lollapalooza. I was only there for a day, but Jesse and Tyler were there the whole run. So, and just for a few minutes to join us for our Lollapalooza highlights, welcome to the show, Tyler Daswick.
Thank you so much.
This was your second Lollapalooza. You went as a fan when you were living in Chicago in college, and this is your first professional experience with Lollapalooza.
Yes.
How was it?
Wow. Well, first of all, I mean, the first time I went was when Paul McCartney and Metallica played.
Yep,
So definitely like an old guard. I know, right?
Usually the lineups are 80% stuff relevant covers, and then their headliners are usually confusing.
Right.
Like that. It's like, what? Like, this is like, you know, the XX and and all these cool bands, and then like Metallica's headline.
Yeah.
It's just bizarre.
And opposite Metallica that year was Sam Smith. It like could not have been more different.
Well, they do that on purpose
jarring.
to like split the crowd, right?
Yeah. No,
You know,
sure. Yeah.
But it was a younger, cooler audience. I will say this: the vape pen game was very strong this year. They had more vape pens per capita than I've ever seen at Lala. Yeah,
That's
How
true.
many between the three of y'all? 6 or 7?
yeah.
Hey,
I mean, if you were to do the ratio, there were hundreds per person vape pens. But yeah, it was a younger crowd. But they also had. I felt
Way
like
younger.
this year.
The question is, are we just getting older and the crowd staying the same?
I think that's the
I
case.
mean, the math of that is really true.
You know what I'm saying? But no, I will, to Tyler's point, the headliners were young this year. It's like The Weeknd, not Paul McCartney.
Right.
So the older people who are music fans who would have come out in previous years did not come out. And it was it wasn't like, it's usually like college, 20s, and then some others, you know, a little younger, a little older. It was high school and some college.
Yeah.
Yes, the girl next to me on the plane was in high school, and she was leaving. When I was leaving Willow, she was leaving Lollapalooza, and she was in high school.
Yeah. And in the hotel lobbies, like the cool moms were hanging out with the 6 high school girls that they brought. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it was a different crowd this year.
Yeah, and I think that meets the acts. Like the big names were Post Malone, Tyler the Creator, Logic, The Weeknd. You said Bruno Mars. It was just people that high schoolers like, and there wasn't the Metallica, there wasn't the Paul McCartney. So I am not
Arcade Fire. Or, I mean, there was nothing older.
Right. I felt too old for Lollapalooza. I am not an old person.
Yeah, what are you, 24?
24, man.
Yeah, 24.
24.
I'm 42 years old. 42.
Not an old.
Yeah, we're on Lollapalooza.
What was the highlight? Like, what was, so it wasn't maybe everybody's cup of tea, but what was the like?
It was a great lineup, man. It wasn't the music wasn't great. It was great.
Yeah.
It was
awesome.
Oh, I loved the look of the lineup.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think for me, I can run down. Okay. So one band, I'll talk about a couple artists, and a couple people may know and some they may not. But one band that I was really surprised with that I had actually seen and talked to at Lollapalooza years ago, who, if you follow Relevant for a while, you'll know is Laney. They had, they played like the second biggest stage, a really good slot in the early evening. And the crowd was insane. They knew every word. It was a massive, massive crowd. Like, it outpulled some of the main stage.
High school age is their demographic, so that makes a lot of sense.
So it's that they had that Lakeshore stage, and usually, like at any show, the front crush, the first 30 feet is diehard fans of whoever the artist is, hanging on every word.
Yeah.
They stood there all day for this moment, and then as the crowd goes further back, you get more spectators.
Totally.
Laney, 30,000 people. The people in the back were singing every word.
Yeah, everyone knew Laney.
Yeah.
It was like a lot of people had shown up.
Well, they read the feature in Relevant last year. And
no doubt.
they were primed and ready.
Yeah, they had that Relevant
Brilliantly
bump.
written.
The infamous Relevant bump. But yeah, they were awesome. And you'd think their music is sometimes a little more loungy.
Yeah.
It really translated to the outdoor space. It felt really huge. The front man, what's the guy? Paul Klein? Is that the guy?
Yeah.
Paul Klein, super great performer. They were awesome. They were a highlight.
Here's a clip of Laney.
In the end, I'm gonna be alright, but it might take 100 sleepless nights to make the memories of you disappear. But right now, I can't see nothing through these tears.
Yeah. So another artist I saw on a side stage that had a really big crowd. This was on Saturday afternoon. Was Daniel Caesar, who we've talked about a lot.
Yeah.
But I mean, I didn't realize what a talented multi-instrumentalist he was. And in addition to being,
he grew up in the church, and it comes out in his music. Like, he
absolutely.
He wasn't allowed to listen to secular music growing up, and
okay.
I mean, he was in the Cameron Strang lane. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, there you go.
But now he's like,
I'll say this: his audience was not in the Cameron Strang.
No.
It was
he spread his wings a little
vape.
further than I have at this point. But Daniel Caesar is one of my favorite artists. So I wasn't at that show. So it translated live, because I love his album.
Oh, totally. And like I said, I think it's because he's such, like, in addition to a great performer, a talented musician. He would be dancing around 1 minute and then have like an electric guitar strapped on him the next, and could really play. I was super impressed with his set.
So, okay, speaking of great artists and stuff, prior to this show, Daz has had a strong opinion that Post Malone is not good.
Right.
And I'm going,
Really?
You can't write 50 radio hits and not have talent. We were all curious how it would translate live.
He's also really good at playing guitar.
Yeah. So
I didn't
he's a
know
great
that.
producer, songwriter, everything.
Super good at guitar.
And so I knew he had more chops than the stoner rap thing you would think, but I was curious live. First of all, I have never seen a daytime crowd. He was like that 5 o'clock slot where it's still light out, but
Dude,
I have not
That's
seen a
pretty early
crowd
for him.
as big. And that's what I'm saying. He should have headlined.
he should have headlined.
Yeah, he
because
really
there was
should've.
easily 100,000 people
Easy.
at his show.
Easy.
It was insane.
It was spilling into the street.
Yeah.
Behind the stage.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Okay. You saw his set.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts of him as a performer now, or as an artist?
Oh, definitely exceeded expectations.
Okay.
Because I
Really?
think, because here was my impression beforehand.
And it was just him on stage, by the way. There was no band up there with him. He pulled a Kanye. I mean, where it's just like me solo on the stage for the entire set.
That's
And
right.
He was phenomenal.
Yeah, he really had to carry it himself, and he did. I mean, I thought this guy was just a vanilla pandering hit factory,
Yeah.
and in terms of the songwriting,
Wow.
like
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeesh.
like money, cars, women, like we get it.
Yeah.
But man, the dude really like puts a lot into the performance. He was reaching to the back, and I was back in that 90,000, 100,000 range. Everyone was jamming, knew all the words. The dude puts on just banger after banger. It was great.
It was crazy. And the thing I love about Lala is like I stayed for maybe 30 minutes of his set, and then Jesse and I bumped and saw other shows. I love like bouncing around, seeing like 20 minutes of an artist and then go to the next one. I'm sure the artists hate that, but it's
That's interesting. I'm a completionist. I like to park there from the opening to last number.
I am so aware of what I'm not listening because I've chosen to be here. If this song isn't the world's best song, I'm going to go bounce and see the next one.
Is that why people kept leaving while I was teaching at Willow? Were they just going to see the next pastor at the next church?
Well, they actually what they were doing is they read the New York Times article on their phone and then left.
Oh man.
So is this already in line? I want to know what the best show is that y'all each saw. Who is the best?
Well, I'll tell that
Will you
after.
get there?
Just two more quick artists I wanted to shout out that are both kind of similar musically. Maybe we can play clips of both. That both had new music drop the same weekend as they were playing, which is always very cool. And we actually got an opportunity to talk with both of these bands. One is Lovely the Band, who has their single Broken, blew up a few weeks ago, but they actually released a full album.
No. It's been going for months. I mean, but it is like one of the songs of the summer.
Yeah. I mean, it's got like 160 million Spotify streams, but their full album released on Friday. So the day we got to talk to them and the day that they played, their album had just come out. I think they are, they play the same stage as I saw Bleachers on a few years ago, and then Bleachers had their big moment. I think Lovely the Band's gonna have a big moment. Chandler, if you don't mind playing a clip.
I like that you're broken like me. Maybe that makes me a fool. I like that you're lonely like me. I could be lonely with you.
And the other one, kind of along those lines, has been around for a while, but I was really impressed with, and I think their album, which again they just dropped new music, they just put out a brand new music video on Friday, just a couple days ago, is Arizona. Who
I like those guys.
Oh, great!
Yeah,
but both of those bands are really good. If you
Jesse,
like poppy indie
full
rock.
Transparency, Jesse just likes Arizona because he interviewed them and then they realized that they were from the same hometown in New Jersey that his wife is from.
They did.
So they hit it off and they invited Jesse to hang out and get some pretzels at this shop.
They invited me to wing night. They said, "Hey,
Wing
man,
night.
this is we went out for a while." Guys, don't be hating.
You have so
just
many
because.
cool friends.
I know. I'm
He's
totally
highlighting
with him. I'm
Arizona
gonna take him
because
up on it.
he's buddies with him now. Oh, hey, you know who else was awesome in Chicago that weekend? Ira Glass. Here's a clip.
And it's a clip of Ira and Annie being friends.
All right, real quick around the table. Best performance you saw. Cameron, you want to go first?
I was only there one day.
Yeah.
Only there one day. So I'm very limited with what I can pull from.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't see a bad show. I probably saw 10 artists. I gotta say, and we ended the night
Say it.
with Bruno Mars.
Yeah, man.
It was.
Oh, I love him.
It was. Listen, I know you're doing Michael. I know you're doing
bet that guy
Motown.
puts on
I
a
know
great
you're
show.
pulling from James Brown. I know I can identify the influence song by song. But that guy
Who cares?
puts on a show
Yeah.
like
He
you've never seen.
Right.
I lost count of how many fireworks went off. I mean, it was just an overwhelming sensory experience. Everybody was having a great time. Everybody knew every song. It was just it was a great moment. Bruno Mars crushed it. It was just great.
Yeah,
Everyone
don't
likes
doubt
Bruno. Everyone's mom likes Bruno. Everyone's grandma likes Bruno.
Daz, what was the best show you saw, man?
My favorite performance came really out of the blue. I did a little Lollapalooza roulette going into the festival where I just looked at the lineup, pulled some bands at random, downloaded their last album on Apple Music, listened to it on the plane there.
Right.
And one of those bands was Greta Van Fleet.
Oh, sure.
They are sort of like a hardcore old school rock band, kind of in the style of like a Led Zeppelin.
Which is a male-fronted band, Led Zeppelin band. So Greta Van Fleet sounds like it's a female artist.
right,
It is
right.
not. It's
Yeah.
an ironic name, I guess.
Yeah, all dudes, and they are rock stars. And we saw them probably it was around like a 6:30-ish
Yeah,
set.
small side stage.
Yeah, and we were going to kind of make a pass before going to get our contact high at Post Malone. but man, these guys really shred. And we were probably their second song. We probably reached like minute 7 on the solos.
Yeah.
It was funny to me. It's like you're listening to them and it's like, okay, clearly they were influenced by Zeppelin, but I'm going, actually, I don't know that they were. They were influenced by the darkness. They were influenced by like that era of the resurgence of the Zeppelin thing, because that's when they would have been coming up, because that was like 15 years ago,
Right.
And I don't know, I just thought it was interesting. So it was almost like the third generation of the Zeppelin jam band rock over the topness,
Yeah. That's a great take. But I loved the performance because it was so different than anything else we saw.
Great take.
It was a good take.
I'll say the artist I was super impressed with, I think he was actually on the same stage as.
Are you friends with him? I mean, just full disclosure.
Not yet. I'll say this, not yet. It's a not yet.
Attaboy,
It's a
Jesse.
not
That's
yet.
the way I live.
Curtis Harding, who does R&B and soul. Man, his band was awesome. He was a killer performer. You felt like you were really watching an artist, like that could have fit in any era, and he would have been incredible. Like Post Malone's only going to work now. You know what I mean? Like his music's very up. He
will sadly define a generation. I mean, honestly, we will look back at like Post Malone defined right now. That's crazy to me.
Yeah, he's sort of that like bedroom rap kind of self-starter.
Yeah, like this is the first time that has happened, right?
Yeah.
Whereas like the Curtis Hardings and Leon Bridges hearken to another time. They put their own twist on it. They evolve it, but it's like we know where you're pulling from. I don't know where Post is pulling from. I mean, it's like emo rap.
Yeah,
it's emo.
He really
really
made
is,
his own lane, didn't he? Yeah.
And now there's a lot of artists that are in that lane. But it's interesting that's our right now.
The great innovator of our time, Post Malone.
Yeah. Goodness.
No, but it is interesting, like, because it's because, and you look at like the regionality of it too, like Atlanta with the trap scene, which is very collaborative. You have what's going on in Toronto, where they have their own style with like the OVO artists, and then you have like these like bedroom artists who are basically their region is the internet, where they didn't grow up performing in clubs, they grew up putting songs on SoundCloud, and it's an interesting time for hip hop and pop music, but it's the convergence of a lot of things. But that's the great thing about going to Lollapalooza is you get exposed to all of it over the course of a couple of days.
There was one artist talking about the bedroom artist, like, because that really is a thing. I mean, enormous artists literally just made the song in the bedroom, put it on SoundCloud, and blew up, right? And now they are on their own track, but they don't have the live performance chops. I went and saw Lido, which is one of those artists.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I was walking by, it was side stage, small stage, and it was great music and drew me in and went and looked. And he was on stage by himself. It's almost like if you ever seen Jack Garrett perform. He's like surrounds himself with synthesizers and instruments, and he's like a one-man band. Well, except Lido like had what I assume was crippling stage fright, because he was sitting sideways, playing his keyboard and singing, like not looking at the crowd,
audience,
and then he would turn around to the other keyboard and whatever, and never made eye contact, never interacted with the crowd, just kind of did his thing, deconstructed the music, and built it live. And I was going, this is what he does in his room. This is what he does.
Right.
Like he couldn't translate it to a live experience. Whereas somebody like Post or artists like that kind of came up that lane, have somehow evolved it to a live thing, and they've figured out how to be performers as well as artists. A lot of these guys are just artists, though.
Yeah.
It was the most boring show. Lido was like boring, but the music was great. It was like I would just rather just like put it in my headphones and walk around listening to that.
He's like a producer though, so I mean it's a little different.
Yeah, that's true.
Chandler, classic Chandler line.
Well, here's a clip of
He knows his people.
here's a clip of Curtis Harding.
'Cause with a love like this, there's nothing left to do.
All right, well, that's all the music talk. I mean, this is us. The beginning of the show has been us.
Yes.
Talking about Moyles, talking about church and crisis and how to not do that moving forward, and Lollapalooza. That's us.
Yeah.
Just
Isn't
a
it
little
kind
bit
of
secular.
exciting that all three of those categories, we're the generation that just gets to decide what happens next?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm
Exactly.
sure we'll do fine.
Especially in the Moyle front.
Particularly, I was
the
leaning
future
mostly
is in
toward
our
Moyles.
the future is in our hands.
Working on a business plan over here.
Hey, moving the show along, it is time for our look back at what happened in culture and entertainment. It's time for
In case you missed it.
Hey, in case you missed it, this week, Usher commented on one of our Instagram posts.
That's right.
Urban McManus explained how he has become friends with Usher through Mosaic Church. And we posted on Instagram. So the pastor of the LA-based church posted an image of the two hanging out on Instagram saying, "This week I've been highlighting some of the beautiful people that have come into my life at Mosaic. He said that the pop star is, quote, one of the kindest people I've ever met, explaining every once in a while you meet someone and you sense a deep connection of your souls. We were brothers from the start. It was easy because the journey he is on and the tenderness of his heart. Rarely have I shared a meal with someone and they tell me their only agenda is to get to know me. And so then in our post, because we grabbed that, and if you follow Relevant on Instagram, we're covering things that are out there.
Yeah,
That's our link.
Yeah. We posted. What was our caption, Jesse? It looks like Mosaic Church found a new usher.
That's right.
That was funny. I laughed. I did see that part.
Yeah. So if you scroll down in the comments, Usher did a little humble smiling emoji and a little praise hands emoji. I think he was praise handsing our clever caption.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't think, I'm not throwing shade against Roman McManus, who's recently on the show, but that was for us, not you. So.
Yeah, I think you should screenshot that and put it on on your desk, like print it out, Jesse. That's a high praise to your jokes.
Usher probably.
Actually, I got to give credit to JD. We talk about Instagram posts, and I will say that I brought the post to the table, and JD was like, we have to make a church usher joke. I was like, I think you're right, man.
Jesse, I think Usher, how sometimes Annie knows this, how sometimes people will comment on your Instagram post because they want to be your friend. They want to get to know you.
Yeah.
Like most of Annie's comments,
Yeah.
Like most of the ones I'd leave on other ones. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, that's true.
I know where you're going.
Usher,
hey,
Usher
Cameron,
wants
I know
to
where
be
you're
your
going this
friend.
time. I would like to address Usher directly right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Friend,
That's
the
what I was hoping.
the DMs are open. Slide on in. Let's talk. Let's be buds.
Jesse, you're having quite a year of friendship, buddy. You're just amping up those friendships.
It's really exhausting to be me.
Yeah.
Hey, in case you missed it this week, Guy Fieri traveled to Redding, California to feed wildfire evacuees with donkey sauce, I assume. Following the massive wildfires that destroyed more than 700 homes throughout the region, the donkey sauce mastermind traveled to Redding to help feed some of the 14,000 people who fled their homes because of the fire. He worked alongside the Salvation Army to feed evacuees, organizing nearly 20 volunteers and setting up a temporary kitchen to serve meals. He told the local news, we just did lunch for 750 people and we're getting ready to do dinner for that same group right now, trying to keep the menu interesting. It's unbelievable to see what folks are going through, but also how great this community is. We're in tough times in the world and with all the things going on. And boy, you take a moment like this and you really see what America is made of. A lot of great people coming together. The move comes a few months after a viral stand-up bit from the comedian Shane Torres made a very strong case that Guy Fieri is actually a really great dude. Here's a clip.
And look, I get it. I don't want to hang out with Guy Fieri either, okay? I know he looks like a Hot Topic manager moonlighting at a Fridays. But he didn't do anything wrong. Well, what else has he done, Shane? I'm so glad you asked. He goes around the country to small businesses and gives them free advertising on a national platform on a weekly basis. Advertising those small businesses could never afford themselves with his own television show. But because his hair looks like he was electrocuted while drinking Mountain Dew.
Does that convict you, Jesse? All your years of Guy Fieri jabs?
Well, you know what's funny is in that same bit, which I couldn't play because of profanity in its entirety, but people can, if they don't have little ears in the room and they're comfortable, violating their ears, they can go listen to Shane's entire bit, which I have. And they're basically saying like, this is a guy, because Guy Fieri's a very charitable dude, does stuff like this all the time. And they're like, the whole bit is like, I'm going to butcher a joke, but I'm going to say it anyway. But how they're just, everyone likes just dumping on him for chasing his dream. It's like he's the Nickelback of cooking. And then he's like, by the way, what did Nickelback ever do except for making 40,000 bros really happy? And he's like, what do you want them to do? 40,000 bros walking around angry? He's like, they're doing a service. So
That's a good
hat tip, Shane.
I'm
Torres.
with you.
Good
I mean, I think that's one of my very favorite things about diners, drive-ins, and dives is he literally those restaurants are getting the amount of business they would never get if he wasn't going and eating from their menu. I think it's awesome.
Here in Orlando, we have a thing called Disney Springs. They redid this huge area. It's entertainment, nightlife, restaurants, and there's world-class restaurants. There's Morimoto and just all the best of the best celebrity chefs opened all these new restaurants. And then for years, there's been a Planet Hollywood there. And so they reimagined it. They redid it, kind of bring it more upscale. So it's in this new era. right? And the way they reinvented Planet Hollywood, the Planet Hollywood experience, is they brought in Guy Fieri to do a new menu. And so like you walk by on these high-end restaurants and all these high-end shopping, and then you walk by the new Planet Hollywood, and there's this big old Guy Fieri sign, like, come on in, like, I was like, yeah, just...
Real talk, it probably does more business than a lot of those.
Yeah, it does. I'm sure it does.
He's appealing to the mainstream. Someone has to be the CBS sitcom of cooking. Someone's got to set up
Someone has
three
to be the
cameras,
Chili's.
write non-jokes, and a laugh track, and that's what you get with the Guy Fieri menu. It's not highbrow, but it's what the people want. He's giving it to them.
Right.
Hey, speaking of the Reading wildfires, obviously we've been covering it on our site and stuff, and we haven't mentioned it here on the podcast. It's been a crisis we've been watching, and covering, and keep that in your prayers. Obviously Bethel Music is based there in Bethel Church, and all their huge ministry, and a lot of the people in that ministry have been affected. And it's a tough situation. There's so many people displaced.
And I would say too, Bethel Church now has been doing a drive, and they're partnered, I believe, with the Salvation Army to help the community there. So you can check out them on social media to learn out more about those efforts.
And y'all know one of my sisters lives there, and her husband.
Wow.
First of all, I didn't know you had sisters.
I have sisters, and one of them lives in Reading and has a husband. And they sent pictures yesterday that everyone has to wear face masks all the time right now because the air quality is unhealthy. So,
and SARS, also SARS.
But my favorite, and I've said this before, SNL skit of all time is, and it's very underrated, and no one would ever have this on a list for good reason, because it's one joke, but they just play it to the death. And it's a very minor host. It was Peter Sarsgaard, the actor. Yeah. And they did a whole bit where he has rented the late night TV time to try to sell off a warehouse of Peter Sarsgaard Sarsgaards. And they're those like Sarsgaard's mask. And he explains how he's invested all of his acting money during the SARS scare. Like his agent talked him into investing in Peter Sarsgaard Sarsgaards. Well, he's sitting on this warehouse.
We now have an outlet. They need him in Redding, California for the air quality issues.
Yeah.
So somebody get Peter Sarsgaard on the phone.
I would just love to be in the SNL writers room, or like you hear about the infamous pitch meeting where they pitch the idea, and like Lorne Michaels and all the cast is right there. And it's like, so it's Peter Sarsgaard this week. So I was thinking the skit would be he's selling Peter Sarsgaard Sarsgaards. And they're like, well, what else is the skit? They're like, no, that's it. They're called Peter Sarsgaard.
It was like a year. It was perfectly timed. It was like a year after the SARS scare.
Yeah. SARS had come and gone. Yeah, come and gone at that point. Yeah,
that's hilarious.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah. Hey, in case you missed it, this week John Gray and Don Lemon got into a heated debate about pastors' roles in politics. So actually, this is interesting. It was happening while I was at Hillsong, New York last week, and he was one of the speakers. And so he was there in New York, and then went over and was on Don Lemon's show, and all this kind of happened during conference. It was crazy. But John Gray was among several black faith leaders recently invited to the White House to discuss prison reform measures. So CNN's Don Lemon invited the pastor, he's pastor of Relentless Church in South Carolina, onto the show to discuss the meeting, but admonished Gray, claiming the meeting sent mixed messages about some of the president's more polarizing comments about race. John Gray, however, explained, with everything that I could have lost and could still lose, I believe that my voice was necessary because I was there for people who could not fight for themselves. Here's a clip of their exchange.
Those people. For me, the answer is very simple. I went through every detail. Why would I go? What could I possibly gain? Which is nothing. And my wife,
would you do it again?
Would I go back? If there were different circumstances, if I had assurances that we were going to meet about the intended conversation, yeah, I would go back. Not because I agree, because this is what's important. Alignment or even speaking does not mean agreement. Dialogue does not mean agreement. Sitting at the table doesn't mean agreement. And that's important. I don't agree with many of the policies, but it doesn't stop me from having conversation.
Okay.
I don't know if you follow Carl Lentz on Instagram, and Carl, pastor of Hillsong, New York, obviously was at conference and is very good friends with John Gray. I saw it this morning. He posted a picture of the two of them and just went in on the comment. If you read the post, it's defending John and saying I would understand leaders who passed on the invitation, but the fact that he went to speak to those in authority and power about change that he wants to see happen, he's like, I respect what John did. I mean, because John has gotten annihilated. I mean, if you look like on Instagram, he's had to shut down the commenting on, he'll post a family picture and there'll be thousands of comments attacking him for sitting down with Trump. And so he's like turning off the comments on his posts and stuff. And then he did post one thing about the prison reform issue and allowed the comments and stuff. You should read it. I mean, people, I would, whatever. I've been invited to the White House a bunch of times. I don't know that I would sit down with this president, but the fact that he went with intentionality to call for change and advocate for those who don't have a voice, you can respect where he was coming from. You can also respect people who disagree, but can we have a civil discussion here, people? That would be my question. I mean, people are like going after him, and it's sad to see that the church is infighting the way it is.
Yeah. And I was going to say, I think people, that whole clip is on our site, relevantmagazine.com, put a little plug in. And it's like a 5-minute exchange. You just heard 15 seconds of it, but it's heated. But the thing is, like, John Gray's passionate in his defense of why he did it. And even if you don't agree with him, you have to respect his reasoning. Especially hear him and, in this case, Don Lemon kind of going at it about it.
Yeah. What was Lemon's pushback?
Lemon's pushback was he felt like it was being exploited as a photo opportunity. That, I mean, at one point in their exchange, Don Lemon says something along the lines of, why didn't you just do a conference call? Because now you can have your picture of you sitting next to the president's going to be exploited for, publicity purposes, which honestly, he might have a point, but at the same time,
that's not an unfair.
It's not unfair, but neither is John Gray's. Exactly.
One time I've referenced the wisdom that Rick Warren has spoken to me over the years on this show. And if you don't know Rick, he wrote Purpose Driven Life and pastors Saddleback in California. And he's a very influential pastor. And he navigates this world of political stuff very differently. Like he doesn't buddy up with presidents. He kind of stays outside of it. And he told me once, like, it's important with politics that you got to stay above the fray. And because politics will use you up and spit you out. They'll suck you up. It's intoxicating, and they'll use you and spit you out. And you have to stay above the fray as a church leader, frankly. And that is the thing of being co-opted. I remember, something came out where there was like, the recorded conversations, that kind of tapes that came out with the current administration a few weeks ago, and they were discussing various church pastors, and the phrase discussed in the room was, can we use so-and-so? No, we can't use him. Yeah. Can we use so-and-so? Like, they literally are looking for that photo op, almost endorsement thing. It's like check a box. And you have to be careful of being a pawn in that. If the opportunity is there to speak change, go for it, and speak to and challenge, but to just be co-opted, politics will use you up and spit you out. And I just hope that
the church will too, Cameron, to be fair, right? Yeah. I mean, they'll take pictures or put you with people, or I wish it was just politics, but you're right, it is politics, but it happens all the time.
Well, they call that church politics. So
Chandler?
Look at that.
Cross.
Good.
Well, he knows because he's a leader.
As a man in ministry.
As Chandler is a man in ministry. He gets it.
He is a leader in the church. And most of the time, he's the one,
You hear that, Mr. and Miss
intentionally causing some drama, but that's okay. So everyone's got to roll. So, brother Strang over there.
Brother Strang.
And in case you missed it, Hillsong Young and Free led worship on the Today Show this week. The worship group played the song Let Go from the new album, 3, on NBC's morning show. The show has become a common stop for faith leaders like recently Jen Hatmaker, Hillsong United, Judah Smith, Brian Houston, T.D. Jakes, and others. Here's a clip of Young and Free's performance.
In a sorry sensation, I was on the edge of deception, caught up in my own hesitation, until your love took over me. So I let go, and I let love show me life like it's supposed to be.
How can you not like those songs? Like, it's so good. Like, all of them. From the old school Darlene Check down to Young and Free. I mean, it's just good music.
They're so innovative. I just love it. I totally love it. I'm with you.
What you guys are talking about with the translating to the live, thing.
Yeah.
Like their recordings are so electronic and produced.
Yeah.
The fact that they're able to make that
Well, they
transformation.
lead. I mean, like at Hillsong Conference, they led worship at several of the services, and that's
but
what they
sonically,
do.
it's on point though. And you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like it still sounds like the original, which is really impressive.
Yeah, no, I mean they're great performers, but they're great worship leaders too. It's crazy, like to see that very synth, and it's all live too. They aren't playing to a track when they lead worship. I mean, it's the synth guy there and the whatever, and you're right. It's like almost studio sounding, but. It's cool.
I also do think it's interesting that the Today Show has been so welcoming to faith leaders and artists. You know, like
it's because Kathy Lee's an outspoken Christian, and she calls all her friends and invites them. You know, I mean, it's an awesome thing.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a couple of authors that Kathy Lee and Hoda kind of changed the game for those authors when they bring their books on. So it's a no joke.
Annie, I was wondering, I know, you might have some connections there. I got this book about confessions of a Moyle millionaire. And I'm really self-published. And Amazon has banned it for...
It's disturbing.
Right.
It's
for quote-unquote making false claims. But if you can get me on, I'd like... You can have Don Lemon on. I'll debate him. I'm willing to plead my case that the things I said, despite what Amazon has said about their terms of use and liability and slander, can be defended. And bring me on to defend the Moyle book. I'm pleased, Kathy Lee.
I've got my disagreements with this administration, obviously, but he's done a lot for the Moyle community, and for that, I do have to respect. I have to tip my hat to them.
I have one Moyle.
Well, he's a businessman.
I have one Moyle.
He's a businessman. He's an
it.
entrepreneur. He's pro business. That's why.
Here's the
deregulated some of the some of the old Obama era red tape surrounding the Moyle business.
Thankfully, I don't have to deal with that. I don't have the health department sniffing down my neck like I used to. And I will say this. I will say this. I have some injectable Moyle that if you're looking for a skin tone that is, very distinct, let's just say. It's a kind of a hue, an orangish sun glow hue. I may or may not have a personal endorsement. I cannot talk about it again. But Kathy Lee had me on. We'll clear all this up. All of it up will be cleared.
Hey, lastly, in case you missed it, LeBron James is making a new docuseries about the intersection of sports and social issues. The 3-part Showtime series will be called Shut Up and Dribble, which is a word-for-word criticism he received after speaking out on social issues. The series director explained to ESPN, it's really an exploration of how basketball is truly America's game, and the NBA has been a vessel for black athletes to claim pieces of the American dream. LeBron recently opened the I Promise School in his hometown of Akron, which will serve at-risk youth in the area. There you go. It's been kind of misreported. I mean, I don't know. I'm not bringing him down. I think it's amazing what he's done in Akron. But like, the I Promise School is a public school, so it's taxpayer funded, and he gave.
But he put up some of the money initially to
$2 million.
Yeah,
it's been reported that he's spent $44 million. He's put up $2 million, and then like there's still the city of Akron and his foundation are still negotiating the specifics of the ongoing financial investment.
Yeah,
but it is a public school for underserved kids. He basically paid for major upgrades and programs to be added to this underperforming public school. So I mean, it's not belittling what he did, but I think the perception was he opened this private school, free tuition, and it's not what it is. It's a public school in the area. All right, well, that'll do it for In Case You Missed It. Stay tuned. Up next, Eugene Cho joins us.
Maybe you're just too good. Maybe I'll run away. Maybe I'm over you. Maybe I shouldn't stay. Maybe I just don't care. Maybe I talk too much, but maybe I'll be there. Yeah, maybe I'll be there. It's been a little hard. I've been a little tired, but maybe all alone. I'm afraid.
You're listening to Lovely the Band. Look how timely. The song is Maybe I'm Afraid. At the beginning of the podcast, you heard Lost Kings with When We Were Young, featuring Norma Jean Martin. 18 years ago, Eugene Cho and his wife, Minhee, founded Quest Church, a congregation in Seattle that's gone on to become one of the region's most influential churches for its emphasis on racial diversity and humanitarian outreach. However, recently, Eugene shocked his congregation by announcing that he would soon be stepping down. This week we spoke with Eugene about why he decided it was time for him to, quote, fire himself, the spiritual power of uncertainty, and what's next for Quest and his organization, One Day's Wages. Here is our conversation with Eugene Cho.
So what sparked the initial announcement a few weeks ago that you'd be stepping down as the pastor of Quest Church?
Yeah, I made the announcement about 2 months ago, and I'll be stepping down in the end of September. And obviously, it wasn't a flippant or whimsical decision. It's probably been something that I've been kind of mulling and wrestling with for probably a couple years.
Wow.
And I would say that it began to incubate a little bit when I get together with both online or in person with some other pastors and leaders and church planters. Initially, it was just for mutual encouragement, sharing best practices, trying to sharpen one another. And along the way, I think one of the conversations that organically came up is acknowledging that as founding pastors of our respective churches or longtime pastors, that unless there was some sort of like egregious moral failure, our churches weren't going to ask us to leave. And, I share that with my church in the recent announcement, reassuring them obviously that there's no moral failure. But I kind of realized that, there needed to be some deep examination, some self-awareness in prayer about, am I honoring my responsibilities? Am I still driving the mission and the vision of our church as the senior pastor? And it's been 18 years, and it's been an incredible journey. And even, I think about 2-3 years ago, I felt this possibility in my spirit, but also sensed the Holy Spirit saying to stay on board a little longer, which made sense because we moved our facilities about 3 years ago, purchased an incredible building here in Seattle. Last year culminated our capital campaign. And I think after the culmination of the capital campaign was when I began to really more thoughtfully, prayerfully, along with my wife this past year, wrestle with that. Is it time for me to pass on leadership to someone else that can help Quest Church into the next season of its ministry?
What's so interesting about that is, you're still somewhat of a relatively young guy, and this seems like it represents sort of a counter narrative to a lot of how we think, at least in Western culture, of success and power. Of once you achieve a certain status, you do everything to fight and hold on to it. But this seems, like I said, like a powerful counter narrative to that, where you're willing to be obedient to step down for the sake of the church.
Yeah, I have to just check my heart a little bit because it's still very raw and emotional, and I still might lose it here and there, and it's because it's the hardest decision that I've ever made. I love this church. My wife and I, having planted this church, I know it's not the best analogy. It sounds a little awkward, but it feels like a child to us. And the best analogy that I can give to people is it's akin to some of the emotions that we felt 2 years ago when we dropped off our eldest at college. We knew that it was coming. We had peace and felt that it was the right thing to do, obviously. But as the days approached, we had so many questions. Is she ready? Are we ready? Are we doing the right thing? And we said our goodbyes at the dorm rooms and drove off and didn't say anything for a while until both of us just burst into tears. Didn't say anything for the rest of our car ride back. And it feels like this. It's very emotional. But one of the things that I shared with our church is that, even some of my friends have said that they're having a hard time making sense. trying to maybe ask, hey, is there a deeper story here? Are you burnt out? Is there some sort of conflict? And there isn't. There's no conflict. There's no tension. There's no drama. I think it's that opportunity to really examine ourselves. And as I confess to the church, it sounds weird, but I feel like we felt convicted that it was time to fire ourselves. And again, it sounds like a dramatic thing, but it's just not. I think we felt like we gave our most to the church, and as I've been wrestling with all the different things that I'm doing, I just didn't feel like I was able to help the church into this next season. And while I am very tempted and remain tempted, because I've been kicking myself after the announcement every now and then, I'm asking myself, man, what am I doing? But I want to resist this temptation of preserving, my platform or my power or prestige. And I can't speak for others. I know for myself, it's a real temptation. Quest Church is a very well-respected, influential church here in Seattle. Again, as I shared, we moved into one of this amazing facility. We purchased what used to be formerly known as Mars Hill Church in Seattle, and paid off everything. But I love my church. I love it deeply, and am excited for what God has in store for it. As I shared with my church congregation when I shared the announcement, our theme this year happens to be this word called deeper. And I wish the theme was coast. The theme was just get by. And if it was, I would be perfect for this next season. But as I approach my 50th birthday in a couple of years, I'm realizing that I just have limitations. I just don't have the energy. I don't have the ability to handle 4 major things that are going on in my life. Along with being a senior pastor, I run a humanitarian organization. I'm late with my second book by 3.5 years, and I love the privilege of traveling to be able to encourage pastors and missionaries around the world. And on top of that, I'm just trying to, honor my wife and kids. And in my desire to go deeper, I realize that sometimes there are seasons in faith and obedience. You have to let go of certain things, and so that was that season.
This represents not only a major leap of faith for you personally making this transition, but also for Quest Church that, there's a bit of uncertainty about the future and you're really trusting God for both. Since you've made this announcement, how has your relationship with God been affected or changed? That's a great question. And, I'd be lying if I said there was some sort of this deep well of profound intimacy. One of the things that I've learned over the years as I've become a follower of Jesus at the age of 18 is that as much as I desire for clarity, I have said that prayer tons of times. I've preached about our human need for clarity because it's connected to our control. And I've rarely, if ever, received clarity from God. And so I think, if anything, it's a ongoing lesson of trusting God. That this church, as much as we love it, doesn't belong to us. It's always belonged to God. That as a 48-year-old, as we're making this significant decision that places some security at risk for our family, that's, just bluntly speaking, that's one of the things that I wrestled with 3 kids, 2 in college. I think in the midst of all of this is acknowledging and trusting that God's certainly not yet done, yes, with the church, but God's also not yet done with Minhee and I. In this next season, we feel, while we're not sure what's next, we certainly are hopeful and prayerful that God would continue to use us to be a voice of encouragement to
pastors, missionaries, and leaders here in the city, in the country, and around the world. But it really is just a matter of trust. That's what what it's been about.
That was Eugene Cho. Stay tuned. Up next, your feedback. You're listening to Toast. The song is 1, 2, 3. All right, it's time for your feedback. Last week we got talking about the fact that, number one, we were talking, most of the feedback that you guys were responding to is the fact that we were talking about rest and Sabbath and being, stressed and decision-making fatigue and all that stuff. And you guys were very kind in the comments of appreciating the transparency and all that. Noted. Thank you. We saw your comments.
Noted.
Noted.
We see you and we're grateful.
We are grateful. It is
really sweet. It just reminds us that we're not just talking to each other, that this is a bigger conversation that continues throughout the week. And it means a lot when people, about the silly stuff and the serious stuff. I just like that it reminds us that we're a bunch of friends in this conversation, not just the 4 of us or 5 of us or 6 of us or whatever.
Yeah. But the question of the week was based on the fact that in 2 or 3 weeks at the end of the month, I'm doing this Hood to Coast 200-mile relay race, doing it with Team World Vision. And we're trying to raise money for clean water in South Sudan. There's like 10 or 20,000 people doing this 24-hour relay race. It's crazy. I've never run in my life. Jesse was giving me some pointers and some tips about things I should do for my legs of the race to kind of literally make it and not die. So for the question of the week, we asked you, what or how should Cameron cheat in the upcoming Hood to Coast race? Because
right.
Jesse's, at the end of the day, he said, you just got to cheat. That's how.
Yeah. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
You guys hit us up
that's what winners say.
You guys hit us up on Twitter and posted out the episode page. And here's a few of our favorite suggestions.
Eric had a fantastic idea, which is simply a doppelganger. Real Cameron, you exist at the van drop off. Let the doppelganger run. Cameron, you enter the van, back up at pickup. You'd have to use some sleight of hand or something during the exchanges. But I think right now we're going to put out a call. If you look remotely like Cameron, we can get you a wig or something if you need it.
We got Chandler right there.
I know you got Chandler and Cohen.
We need someone who is in better running shape. And Chandler, I doubt that's the case.
He's had way too much chilies.
It's very true.
Yeah. So we need someone who's a runner. Yeah, for Cameron's doppelganger. But I like that idea.
But that runner, if he's a runner, he's not going to be 25 pounds overweight like I am. So he's not going to look like me.
We can figure out creative solutions.
We can weigh people down pretty easily.
Fat
suit. Okay, I like it.
I'm a little more inclined to go for Christy Perry's idea here because she's thought about this too. She says, I would propose you contact local Parks and Rec authority and or the zoo, have them set up checkpoints with caged wildlife like lions and tigers, which can then be released to give you bursts of incentive to pick up the pace.
That's great.
I don't know. Like when we were running in Montana, Jesse was on a run and got chased by a wild dog, and like they chased him all the way back. It's exactly what you just described.
It was horrible.
I didn't, but when he was telling me the story, I was going, that doesn't mean that I have the physical ability to run the next 2 miles away from this wild animal. It would just,
you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised if you had an animal literally nipping at your heels. Like I now know where that phrase, I know the accuracy of that phrase. Yeah. But you run faster.
But I get like winded. Like if I can't breathe, I would have, I don't know. Like you think I could, well, maybe try it.
I also like PC Walker kind of went with the doppelganger idea, but his is literally like put your bib on someone else. Put your running bib on someone else.
How many of these people have you met in person that are on the team?
One. 2. Brent Green is on my
2.
team.
The good thing is
So that
Cameron
means-
is a gender neutral name, so you could send a girl even. Anybody can run in your place, bud.
Absolutely.
Yeah, or you just send like a really good runner and have him introduce himself as Cameron. And for the 2 people you know, just be like, no, it's me. You just don't remember me well, and I'm insulted. And just let me run my race and shut your mouth. and then let that guy take all. There was another one. I lost it on Twitter. Who sent it, but the other idea is, Cameron, you get several relevant staffers to hide like a car idling in the woods.
Yeah.
And when it's your turn at the van drop off, you're like, all right, guys, I'll see you at the next stop. And a relevant worker just drives you to the next one and drops you off. You are very well rested the whole time
that's
because
the
you're
best one.
driving.
I think I heard people doing that with like the New York City Marathon and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. It's happened a bunch of times.
Yeah.
I like it.
They take like the subway. I love it. You
I
know?
think all these ideas are really great. Cameron, mine that I didn't submit that I actually think is the right thing is you need to back out of the race. I need you just to back
don't
out.
Listen. Don't.
Raise
I
the
don't
money.
know. I don't know if you're if like in hindsight we're gonna look back at what you have done to me over the last 4 months or 3 months where you've
No.
discouraged me and told me I am gonna fail and I shouldn't do it.
Power
I'm gonna
of
die.
the mind.
I don't know if you're
No.
gonna look back and
Is that
go,
helping?
I was a master motivator and it's because I loved you and that's why I did all that. Or are you just really the most discouraging friend I have? Because you're the only one.
Master
Annie,
motivator
listen,
because
listen.
I love you. That
No,
you were right.
No, listen,
Okay.
listen.
Because I will run
you
this
can-
out of spite to prove Annie wrong. That is my
And
major.
Eddie, to be
Cameron,
fair.
you can listen to Annie, or you can listen to me and God, who wrote, "There is power of life and death in the tongue, Annie F. Downs, and my tongue proclaimeth."
My tongue is
Cameron, you
just
gotta cheat,
concerned
but you can
about
do
the
this
health of my
thing.
friend. I know you can do it.
No,
I'm
I
just not
can't.
sure you have to. That's where I stand.
I am actually at the point where I don't know that I can. You know what I mean?
Have you
it's-
bought your flight?
Oh yeah, and hotel and everything.
Oh, wow.
I'm going.
It's about what's down here. It's
Well,
not
you know
about
what?
your
This
boat.
is actually true. Brent Green, who's run a number of marathons, he's a friend of me and Jesse's, and a friend of the show. He's on my team, and he told me like literally like, dude, the race is different. You know, I'm running around my neighborhood by myself, hating it. Trudgery is awful, and he's going. The race is different. There's people cheering. There's
that's
like
nice.
you're gonna run faster. He's like, you can do it. He's like, honestly, it's a mental game, and it's like overcoming the mental game. He's like, you're strong-willed enough. You're gonna be able to do this. He texts me encouragement, Annie. You don't text me. You just tell me publicly I'm gonna
I do
fail.
text you. But I haven't texted you any encouragement. That's true.
All right, I'll tweet this out, but I'm doing this. I'm putting myself through this to raise money for people in South Sudan to get clean water. I got to raise $10,000. I am way late putting up my donation page. Y'all need to rally around me. I don't know. Like if you think Annie's right and I should drop out, you need to give $20. And if you think I'm right, I can do it, you need to give $20. So I don't care whose side you're on.
We'll calculate this later and figure out who wins. We'll calculate.
Well, I think, maybe actually we should. I wish that.
Hold on, $20 just came up real quick, Annie. I just need to address something real quick. The Moyles thing isn't going great. I would love. I have a GoFundMe, Moyles, more Moyles.biz. Remember that. It's probably the URL that a lot of people aren't getting there. But if you go there and you were just going to throw 20 bones my way, I would deeply appreciate it because I was wrong about the health department. I've been fined heavily. So a little bit of a hole here.
I just wish that we'd have set it up so that people could either donate on Team Annie that's trying to keep Cameron safe and healthy, or Team Cameron, and whichever one wins is the one whether you go or not. I wish we'd have been able to do that.
I'm Team South Sudan. I just
that's
if
actually
you've got to
the
run.
point.
If you've got to run to get them some monies, then that's what's got to happen.
I'm team avoiding second bankruptcy in 2 years because of the money I lost on my Dead Sea goggle venture. And they don't let you declare, twice in 7 years. So I would need the cash too.
So I emailed I said this last week. I emailed our team captain and said, like, man, I don't know that I'm gonna be able to do this 20 miles. I just don't know that I can. And he said, I said, I'm going to be so slow. Da, da, da. And he was like, listen, it doesn't matter. He's like, what matters is the people of South Sudan getting clean water. And we're not trying to win the race. We're trying to raise money for them. And that's why you're doing it. And you doing that, showing up, giving it your best. That's all we need. We got your back. We have backup runners, whatever you need. Listen.
They have backup runners?
Our van driver in an emergency can take a leg for you. But
this is great news.
But this is like,
but to be fair,
I don't
he
want to
will
do
still
that.
be driving the van, so he just drives it.
I don't want to do that. You know what I mean? I want to do what I signed up to do. But at the end of the day, it's that people of South Sudan will get clean water, and I need y'all to support me. So
that's right.
it's going to be the 24th, Hood to Coast, Friday in Portland.
Wow. That's this month, bud. That is this month.
Hey, whatever we got to do, clean water, South Sudan. All right.
That's right.
It's time for this week's
editorial question of the week. Hey.
Well, earlier in the show, we got talking about the essential oils and the leggings. And the thing that, like, if you know a Christian female in her 20s, you've probably been presented the opportunity to purchase one of those items.
If it's Moyles, it may be a Christian man, maybe two of us. Both very, very compelling. Good looking guys.
And maybe we will steal your credit card information just to cover some quick debts, and then I'll pay you back in Moyles.
In Moyles. Yeah, that's the trick.
The man oils. So on the show today, we came up with a new MLM opportunity for Christians to participate in. It's a groundbreaking opportunity. We want to know from you, for the question of the week this week, other MLM product ideas that Christians should consider. But it's because I feel like the leggings and the oils saturated. Yeah. We don't need more.
Is that an oil joke? Because I like it.
We don't. Oh, that's funny. We don't need more, independent representatives. And the hair thing. There's a hair thing too. That's a big hair thing. They go live on Facebook all the time. They're talking about their hair products. I see that a lot. So we got the hair products fine. We got the oils fine. We got the leggings fine. Saturated. Don't need more independent reps. If we're looking for new industries, new product ideas, that could be the next big thing.
And I think it needs to be something like, you got to have an excuse for hitting up that friend on Facebook that you haven't talked to since graduation. Maybe this is a yearbook related or something. I don't know. But, I feel like something that would bridge the gap a little. So it's not so weird when that person hits you up and, they just want you to be their next, customer or,
if you've been talking to this person in 20 years, you need to connect. You need to be like,
does it have to be in y'all's heart when we're just coming up with this editorial question of the week? Does it have to be faith based, or is it just better if it sells better in the church?
It's going to change their life the way it changed yours. And you are passionate.
Mine are indulgences. They're tickets to heaven. And I will get them signed by a pastor.
Multi-level tickets to heaven.
But there's everything is religious.
Different mansion sizes. No,
a product that
this is like the audio adrenaline version of heaven, it will be who gets to play quarterback in that football game with Jesus that we're waiting for.
We're basically
you guys, this is getting a little bit secular. I can feel it already.
We're basically just coming up with content for Jim Baker to sell on his TV show.
Oh, that's true. It's the Jim Baker angle. I mean, it's like, the end of the world's coming, so I'm going to sell
buckets
rations, buckets of food to get you through the apocalypse.
End time stuff is good.
Yeah, end times. That's a good angle.
Yeah.
But we're already giving away too much.
Hey, for our next live show, because Cameron and I were kicking this around, a live show. I don't want to give too much away because we're in the early stages. We're in Chicago. I think it needs to be catered by Jim Baker buckets. And I think we need a couple vats that people can help themselves to at the beginning of the show to stave off hunger. Just a couple vats,
Ew, nope.
Maybe they can sponsor it. Sponsored by Jim Baker's.
Yeah, they wouldn't even know.
Food.
They wouldn't even know. Yeah. Annie, what do you think about taking the show on the road? Like, what do you think about doing? Like,
even get me excited if you don't really mean it.
Like,
don't
renting
get
out,
me excited if you don't mean it.
What if we did a couple theaters around the country? Like maybe one in Nashville, maybe one in Southern, maybe LA. Take the show on the road.
Nashville.
We wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it in the church.
You guys, that would be so much fun because people could come talk to us and we could meet so many. Okay, stop. It sounds fine. I'm gonna be cool.
Wouldn't it? You think it'd be kind of fun?
Mark, I need you to hunt down Jim Baker's food that sponsor person.
I need you just to hunt down Jim Baker because I want him to come on the show and talk about it.
He's deep in a bunker. He's unhuntable.
He's
Well, we could do one of the live shows in Branson. And I mean, he's in the hills around
what
Branson.
What other cities did you guys talk
from
about?
700 feet below Branson.
Oh, you guys, that sounds like the best idea. I'm so glad you thought of it.
Well, we've been kicking around for a few years, but we're maybe lining some stuff up for this next season.
I love when
but-
y'all line stuff up and eventually tell the rest of us.
I know.
Hi.
We're not lining it up officially. We're just
Plans
like
start fast,
we're just fleshing it out.
Say, I got a calendar, people.
Yeah,
Get
I know
on
you-
it.
Yeah.
I know you're on it. All right. Now that we know you're interested, we'll
Oh my
try it.
gosh, beyond. I'm going to be so silly about it. I'm trying to play it really cool because I don't want y'all to think how I like it so much, but I like it so much.
Hey, for listeners, help us, confirm this is a good business idea and let us know if you want us to come to Nashville and LA for
We
a couple
will
theater
sell
shows.
tickets to heaven while we're there.
I mean, think about
Yeah.
like how all the friends we have in those two cities that could come through.
Is that where you're thinking? Nashville and LA? Those are the two.
I mean, we have those are two big cities for us. I mean, like listener and reader wise, and then also friends who would be great on the show. I mean, from the likes of like Trent Dabb. I mean, I don't even want to say names. I mean, there's so many artists and so many guests
Let's
that
not
would
get
be a
it.
lot of
Yeah,
fun.
yeah.
You guys, we would have the most fun too because we could go to like great restaurants and then we can all go to the beach together in LA. Oh gosh, there's this place in Venice Beach I've been dying to try, so we would go there. Oh, you guys.
You just want to go to You want to go to Venice Beach because it's Muscle Beach and it's a bunch of men walking around working out.
And then I want to eat at the Butcher's Daughter. But yes, I don't hate anything you're saying to me, but that's not the main motivation. We're going on a
respect your
trip
honesty.
together, you guys. Oh, I can't wait.
Hit us up on Twitter at Relevant Podcast, or you can post your new MLM life-changing product opportunity idea on the podcast episode page at relevantmagazine.com. With that note, we'll wrap things up. Many thanks to Eugene Cho for talking to us. He wasn't on to plug anything, so there's no book or film or album. You can follow
But he
him
has books, right?
Of course. He has a ton of great
So
books.
go buy them.
Yeah.
Just go buy that man's books.
Go buy all the books.
Yeah,
you can
because
also,
anybody who says that kind of stuff, we should be listening to. So buy his stuff.
you can also follow him on Twitter at Eugene Cho. Hey, the new issue of Relevant is headed to the printer this week. It's we'll tell you more about it in the coming weeks, but we're not going to give away who's on it yet. But head over to relevantmagazine.com. We have a great subscription sale going on right now, into the summer sale. If you've been on the fence about subscribing, go do it now, and you will get the new issue as well as a whole year's worth of Relevant. I think you'll like it. And don't forget, coming up at the end of this month, Impact Week is coming up. We're partnering with Bright Peak. They're going to be accelerating the giving. It's going to be an exciting week. Hopefully we can make a big difference together. Go over to relevantmagazine.com/Impact Week to find out more. On that note, we'll wrap things. I'm Cameron Strang.
I'm Chandler Strang.
Tyler Huckabee.
I'm Jesse Carey.
And I'm Annie F. Downs.
We will see you Friday when worship leader Chris McClarney joins us. Don't miss it.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you for listening to the Relevant Podcast. If you like what you heard, be sure to leave us a review on iTunes. Check out other shows from the Relevant Podcast Network in the podcast section at relevantmagazine.com. And while you're there, browse exclusive podcast merchandise at our online store. Make sure to subscribe to Relevant Magazine. Info is available at relevantmagazine.com/subscribe.
Live from 700 feet below Branson.
Relevant Podcast Network.